what do we have here? Is that the G? Did I fix it already? No, I wish I did, but it's not fixed yet. The slave cylinder is still shot. I'm able to drive it into and out of the garage if I keep the clutch fluid topped off, but then it just keeps, leaking out of the seal. So it's not fixed yet. I got all the parts in. I'm waiting till this weekend, so I have a large chunk of time I can jack the car up, drop the transmission, and get the job done. So in the meantime, while it's just sitting here hanging out, I'm gonna do some maintenance items on it, change the oil, as well as change the serpentine or the accessory belt. Infiniti suggests that you change the serpentine belt every 30,000 miles, I believe. I bought the car with 46,000, so I would assume that the previous owner had it serviced and had it changed. The car now has 70,000 miles on it, so it's past due for its second change, so I figured I would change it. It also makes a little bit of noise on startup. So with all that being said, I'm gonna replace the serpentine belt today, and I thought that I would make a how-to or a DIY type video for anybody that's interested, wants to do this themselves, save a few bucks to the dealer. So I'm gonna set my light up in the car real quick just so we can get some light down in here in the engine bay, and then we'll get started. So it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of hidden under there. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the coolant reservoir. That's just two 10mm bolts here and here. Disconnect this hose from the neck. Really shouldn't drip out. It may drip a couple, drops of coolant. So just put a little rag there just in case. And then this whole thing will just come straight up. So now we can shine a light down there. You can better see the serpentine belt, see how it, winds around all these pulleys. So this right here with the two little notches on it, that's the tensioner pulley, and that's what we have to remove the tension from in order to get some slack in this belt so we can pull it off. So the cool thing and convenient thing about this tensioner is when you relieve the tension, you're going to pull the tensioner this way, and in which case these little notches will line up. And I don't know if you can tell, but they have a hole in each of them, and once they line up, you can actually stick a little Allen key or bolt through them, and it will keep the tensioner loose so that it's easier to work with the belt. Very convenient, great idea, Nissan. So if you look way down on the bottom of the tensioner, there's a square hole you can kind of barely see. And that hole is actually the size, it's a 3/8 inch square hole, so you can use your 3/8 ratchet and hook it in there, and that's what you're actually going to use the leverage and loosen the tensioner. Since this isn't too long and it's kind of hard to get a good, power, good leverage from, I usually just take the upper part of my jack here. I just slide it on the end of the wrench so that I have a nice handle to pull on that tensioner and free the belt up. So once you get the tension off of this, you want to stick your Allen key wrench in here. No. So there's my handy dandy little Allen key there, and with the tensioner removed, or with the tension removed from the tensioner, the belt is free and you can just work it off and it will come right off like that. All right, so we got our belt off here. You may have to wrestle with it a little bit just to get it through all the pulleys, but here it is. So now what you can do is go inspect it just to give you an idea of how bad it really was or is. Mine's not too bad. The actual ribs aren't really cracked when you bend it, but if you can see here, actually down in the grooves, some of the rubber is starting to come away. So even though it's not super dry, you can see a big chunk out there. This belt definitely has seen better days. So the old belt will go right in there. Alright, so now you're just going to put your belt down in here, just like that. That looks good. Just kidding, of course. Make sure you route it properly around everything. I'll actually post a little diagram of the way that it goes around all the pulleys, and I'll post that now. Alright, so as you just saw, I posted a little diagram of the way the belt is supposed to be routed around all the pulleys. You can come back to that in the video if you need to. So I'm actually going to do just that and fit the belt around all the pulleys, and then we'll take it from there. I've also found that removing this idler pulley here, it's a 14mm bolt, that helps to kind of feed the belt down and around, because you have to kind of get it behind the tensioner. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So taking this pulley off allows you to route the belt a little bit better, and then once you get the belt on, you can reinstall the pulley. Alright, so I have the belt ran around all the pulleys the correct way, and I just have to install the other pulley that sits right there. You are going to have to wrestle with it a little bit because it has to go around so many different pulleys. It's kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it just takes some time, some finesse, and just make sure, like I said, you refer to the diagram. So now I can go ahead and pop that pulley back in there. So now once again we can put our ratchet back on the tensioner. I'm going to just pry up so you can get this Allen key back out. So I got the Allen key out, and then slowly let the tension back on, and that's that. So then before you put your reservoir back, just go ahead and eyeball everything, make sure that the belt stayed put where it should once you put the tension back on the belt. See, it's nice and tight again. And when you're reinstalling your coolant reservoir, there's this long little vent hose. It gets routed down here by the radiator fans. There's two little clips, one here and then one down here. Just make sure that hose gets run down and clipped into there so it doesn't flop around and hit the belt. Sometimes it's actually easier if you remove the hose from your coolant reservoir and tuck it down in there first. That way you have more space to work with. And we tuck our reservoir back down here. Now you can hook it back up to the tank. Make sure it clips in. Hook the other hose up to the coolant neck here. Put your two bolts back in for your coolant reservoir. Hold that in place. Alright, now that everything is back in place, tightened down, you're going to go ahead and start the car. Just make sure everything works properly, and you're done. Alright, so there you have it. Car starts, no issues, job well done. And if you could tell on the startup there was no more sound. Like I said before, the belt was kind of squeaking a little bit on the initial startup. Sound's gone, so I think we solved the problem. And I got a nice new belt on there, should be good for another 30,000-40,000 miles. So the job's done. Like I said, this is a nice job for a beginner. The only problem you may have, or the only issue that you may have, is wrestling with that belt a little bit just to get it around all the pulleys. There's quite a few in there, quite a few idler pulleys. Just make sure you double, triple check that the belt is ran properly around all the pulleys before you start the car, and you shouldn't have any issues. Alright, so that concludes the video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, anything to say, you can drop a comment down below. I'll be sure to answer anything you post. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so and turn on those notifications. Stay up to date with the content I'll be putting out. And thanks to my current viewers and subscribers. I really appreciate it as always. And make sure to stay tuned for much more work on this car. Like I said, got to get the clutch, slave, flywheel, all that stuff installed. And I still have the new wheels to put on. I promise it's coming. Just been super busy. I actually took a break tonight from packing. So just stay tuned for all that. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.